Today I was coming back from the gym and came across a very attractive girl who was almost exactly my type. I said to myself, holy F, bro, hit up on her right now. But then I noticed that she was talking on her phone, so my stupid brain made an excuse of not disturbing her. I still smiled and looked her directly in the eyes whilst I was walking past her, but I knew I effed up. When I got back home, I was so fucking mad at myself. I was dead ass hitting walls and calling myself an idiot. So I want to just, before we go forward, I want to tell you a story actually of this, of specifically like disturbing a girl. One of the first times that I cold approached a girl who seemed like she was kind of busy and I'd be disturbing her if I approached her. It was a girl in my gym in like this sort of student accommodation that I lived in. She came in, she didn't even look at me or anything. She was an international, like a Chinese student, and I was studying in UK, Manchester. And usually like the sort of stereotype was that the international students don't really mix as much with the sort of like people who are locals there that much. They seem to have always gotten their own kind of friendship groups and whatever. But I saw her and I thought she was attractive. And she was literally wearing like an earpiece. You know how like no one really wears it anymore, but like back in the day you'd have like an earpiece for like phone conversations or something like proper like business, professional, whatever. Let me see if I can get like a phone earpiece. Yeah, like this. Like she was wearing like one of these and she was like literally on like a call, right? Or she wasn't really talking, but she had one of these on. And my friend even said it, like, is she wearing like an earpiece? Like, is she detective or some shit? But I saw her on the lap pull down machine and I just commanded my legs to just walk straight up to her. When I got just close enough, I could see that she was like struggling with using it. She wasn't like a proper gym girl, the type of girl who just does cardio or whatever. So she didn't really understand like how to move the bench, the sort of seat pad or whatever it was. So I kind of like pointed out to her and went, oh, excuse me, you just do this thing. And she said, thank you. And she basically didn't, like she kind of like didn't even pay that much attention to me. So it wasn't like a warm opening or anything. But I stood there anyway, and I just kept on talking. I just said something else. I don't even remember because this was like years ago. But basically, me and her ended up getting into like a pretty sweet conversation, and I ended up getting a number. And then what was interesting was she texted me later on that day saying, oh yeah, by the way, I don't know if you remember, but this wasn't the first time we've seen each other. You've walked past me in the halls before, and you were smiling, and you were so cute. And I was just thinking, like, bro, like, so she was warm and receptive to me. Even, let's go, boys, $37. Welcome to the community, Jordan. Top link in the description if you want to join this place, by the way. So she was like so warm and receptive. Imagine a girl saying that. And by the way, we started like dating. We lived in the same building. So she would like come up to my apartment to get like fucking pounded like every 2 days or something like that. Like we weren't like dating, but you get my point, right? So I like, bro, I had a fucking amazing experience with this girl who, when she walked into the gym, she literally had a fucking earpiece on and she didn't even look towards me. Like it was not like a warm kind of opening or anything at all. If there was any girl that seems like, oh yeah, you don't want to distract her, it's a girl who's got a fucking earpiece on, right? Like one of those talking things, whatever, or like earphones, headphones, whatever. But since that point, and for many points afterwards, there's been so many times where I'll speak to a girl who's got earphones on, and before it, you think, oh, well, I don't really want to disturb their workout. I don't really want to do this, whatever. And the first word I say, you see their face light up and they're smiling already. You realize, like, bro, no one's like actually like that busy. And some people are. The thing is, some people are, but that's okay. You could end up approaching a girl, speaking to a girl, and she looks at you weird. Who gives a fuck? It's just like a probability. It's like a numbers game, right? It's like you just quick scope, boom. Okay, she's not interested. That's fine. Move on. Another girl might seem like, yeah, you are disturbing her a bit. So you say, oh, sorry, I don't want to disturb you. I hope you have a good workout. That's it. Like you don't have to like overthink that much. If you end up actually disturbing someone, let's say they're listening to music in the cafe, then you go up to them and they seem quite disturbed. You can just apologize in a sweet way and say, oh, sorry, I didn't want to disturb you. I just wanted to say that I think you're really cute. And then you just judge by their sort of response. If they sit there and be like, oh, it's okay. And you say, oh, well, what's your name? And if they, Sarah, and they don't say anything else, they try and put their earphones in, then you just kind of put your hand like this. Okay, you have a good day. Boom, just walk on. Right? It's like you actually have the chance to speak to these people who seem like they don't want to be disturbed, but you'd be surprised how many people have got like resting bitch face, how many people walk around with earphones, but they're dying for someone to speak to them. So this is the big lesson I'm going to give to everyone who's watching this. Never cuck yourself. Never reject yourself. If there's a girl that you want who you think is attractive, bro, fucking speak to her. Because it feels fucking shit when you don't. It feels shit when you don't go speak to the girl that you've been thinking, okay, she's in the gym. Okay, I'll do it afterwards. I'll do it afterwards. And as a second tip, and I think he's mentioned it here. I saw him say the legs thing. But as a second tip, the moment you see the girl that you want to cold approach, go and cold approach her. Don't wait. Don't think to yourself, oh, I'll wait till after this set, or I'll wait till after this exercise, or I'll wait till this. Because you'll do that for 5-10 minutes. You've lost the kind of flow. It's way harder. She can sense that you're fucking like eyeing her up from the opposite side of the room. And then you see her like walking out the gym and you're like, fuck, oh, maybe, okay, next workout when I see her. And then you just never fucking see her again. The prettiest girl in your entire fucking gym, and she just moved gyms or some shit, right? I'm telling you, the best approach you'll ever do. You're in a bit of a social flow. You already spoke to like the person who works at the gym, or you smiled at someone, you fist bumped someone that you know. And the moment you see the girl, you literally lock eyes with her and you walk up to her right away, smile, take your earphone out, and do something with your hand so they can see you. And then you say something. Don't you delay. Don't even delay for even 30 seconds thinking, oh, well, I'll just do this set quick. No. Just fucking go up and just speak to her right away. When I got back home, I was so mad at myself. I was dead ass hitting walls and calling myself an idiot. At that moment, I challenged myself to cold approach the most attractive girl I spot whilst being on my daily reading session in the park, or otherwise I'll prove to myself that I'm a complete and utter putty. When I located my target, so, sounds kind of weird calling them a target, bro. I'm as much misogynist as the rest of us, but this feels like you should be on some kind of Reddit shit. When I located my target while approaching her, my brain started to come up with excuses again. As soon as I noticed that, I commanded my legs, that's it, just to go up to her and stop fucking overthinking, and I did. I ended up having a 30-minute long conversation with that girl and made her laugh a lot. Moral of the story, don't be a fucking social autist like I was in the first interaction of the story. I feel that there are many guys who think of doing or saying something and then they are just not taking action, so they're left with regret afterwards. When a thought appears in your head, just act on it immediately, because the more you think about it, the higher are the chances you don't actually do that thing. Stay hard and be social. That last point is the biggest piece of advice here. The moment you realize that there's a girl there that you're attracted to, and I'm talking, you'll know this within like 0.1 seconds, right? Within a glance, you know if a girl's attractive, right? This is the skill I want you to think. Just pay attention to me here, okay? This is the skill. The skill is for you to speak to the girl that you're attracted to as quickly as possible, with as little delay as possible. You should almost have a game in your head where literally, imagine the moment your eyes look at her, you should be trying to reduce the number of seconds that pass before you speak to her. So within like a couple of days of practicing this, you'll get into the habit of seeing a girl and literally within like 3 seconds, you'll be talking to her. When you do that, I promise you, this is the best part of all this. You know what it is? It's actually way more enjoyable when you do that. You know how if you've ever went out cold approaching or whatever, or if you've been in this situation where, you're just at the gym, whatever, and there's a girl there and you don't really speak to her and you kind of think you're going to speak to her or not. Do you know how it's like it makes you even more nervous, and it doesn't actually feel good to be in that situation, right? I want you to like feel good through all this self-improvement, Jeffrey to Adonis thing that I'm getting you on. And this is the way to make cold approaching genuinely fun, is to shorten the number of seconds that pass from the moment your eyes first see her to the moment that you've said the first word to her. So for a lot of guys, they might see her and literally for minutes, even half an hour, not say anything and just kind of constantly look over. And that just, it feels bad. And it also lowers the chance that you'll even speak to her, but it also, by the way, lowers your attractiveness, because I'm telling you right now, girls can sense you want to speak to them. The most attractive you'll be to a girl is the moment you first see her and walk straight up to her. You know why? Because it's a little bit intimidating for them. It's almost a bit scary for a girl to see a guy coming up the moment she's just locked eyes with him. You know what's not scary, or even scary, but more of a creepy scary? When she's seen a guy, you've both kind of looked at each other, and then she just constantly notices everywhere she is, if she looks towards you, you're looking at her. That's when it goes from the sort of intimidation, dominant kind of thing, which is if you walk straight up to her, you almost like slightly dominate and, like kind of scare her, to like creeping her out and, oh, that guy's still looking at me. Go as quickly as possible. Let's see what the comments say on this post. Lucas said, good shit, brother. You're an inspiration to us. Marcel said, thanks for sharing. Sometimes I have the same thing, that if it's not under the perfect conditions, I don't approach them. But to be honest, it's never the perfect conditions. Just do it. Yeah. Located the target, bruh. That's how I see cold approaching and dating. It's more like a training to me than anything else. Yeah. What I would say is cold approaching is like, let me explain something to you, right? So cold approaching specifically is where you see a girl and she hasn't really given you any signs that she's into you. Maybe she's not even looked at you at all. So you walk over to her and you say something. That's cold approaching. I don't really like cold approaching that much. I do it every now and then, but I don't really like it because, and maybe I'm kind of biased with this because the part of cold approaching that makes it cold is that she hasn't even really looked at you, right? Warm approaching is kind of more what I do, and it's starting to sound a bit autistic. Cold approach, warm approach, blue pill, red pill, whatever. But it's just a way for me to explain it. Warm approaching is more where you've looked at the girl, she's looked at you, and maybe you guys have like smiled at each other. That's then the easiest part. Take the earphone off and just say, oh, hello, you're really pretty. What's your name? Done. I prefer that than the whole, like, okay, I'm going to walk over to a girl who's never even seen me and I'm going to say something. I actually wrote this down today, though. I was like, you know what? Maybe you prefer the warm like approaching because it's just easier. But then I wrote this down. I was like, but when I actually cold approach, like when I see a girl, she's not even seen me yet, but I see her and I walk up to her, like, you know, she's not even looked at me. I'm actually like, I've got a pretty fucking high like success, like effective rate at doing that. And I was like, yeah, and that scares you more. So why don't you just do that more often? So they're the two kind of strategies you can use here. Cold approaching is when you go to the gym or wherever and there's a girl who's not really looked at you, she's not smiled at you, whatever, and she's just focused on her own workout and you go up and speak to her. And warm approaching is more like, okay, well, there's a girl who smiles at you, she talks to you, whatever. For the love of God, at least get to the point where warm approaching is kind of normal for you. And the way you get there, by the way, which is so interesting, it's not by actually approaching or speaking to girls, it's by speaking to everyone. That's the number one tip with this whole sort of strategy. The number one tip is for you to be in like a social flow. So let's say it's the gym. Today, this was realistic, right? Today, I walked into the gym. The girls at the front know me by name. They're, hello, Hamza. Good morning, Hamza. They're already speaking to me. I asked them for a towel. They gave me a towel. I go upstairs. I went upstairs, and one of the gym attendants was there who's been watching my videos recently. And me, like, he hyped me up. He dapped me up like crazy. You've changed my life. You're this. Oh, I remember seeing your videos from years ago, whatever. So, like, you know, I'm already in like this hype mood. I walk past like two girls who are doing this exercise on like this top floor, and I'm already in like a happy mood. I smile at them. And guess what? They didn't even like look towards me, and that's fine. I don't let things like that try and like make me feel bad, because then you're in like negative vibrations or some shit. But when I went to the actual gym area and I had this like almost like magnetic kind of feeling about me, I kept on noticing the same two girls, by the way, two different girls, not together, but two different girls, looking over at me as if it's like the hot girl effect, as you know how most guys are towards hot girls. They had that towards me because I already walked in with like confident energy. Also, it's the gym and I weigh 200 pounds and I've been training for 10 fucking years and stuff. So it's like, you know, and it was like, it's easy mode for me. That I looked over at the girl, did the whole thing, took the earphone out, waved the hand. Hello, you're really pretty. What's your name? And I don't use the exact same copy paste sentence. I just kind of say what my brain says. Oh, hello, what are you training today? Hello, it's a good day, isn't it? Shit like that. It's just fucking, bro, I talk like I'm a retard to girls, and I prefer it that way. I don't like overthinking or having like intellectual conversations with girls that I've just met. I like just being like a dumb little animal, like, hello, you're pretty, what's your name? Hello, how was your weekend? I like that kind of conversation. So what I realized from today was it was so easy for me. Like, I ended up speaking to like over 10 people in the gym session. And it was so easy because I was in like this social flow. And so when I then started to speak, this was like later on in the sauna, I walked in and there was two girls there. And I just started speaking to them straight away. I was already in a social flow. So the strategy that I want you to implement, like, by all means, do the warm approach, do the cold approach. But the biggest, best thing you can do is get more in social flow states. Walk over to wherever social you're going to be, which is like, you know, the gym, for example, and try and speak to everyone. Like, you know, whenever you see someone and your brain thinks of something to say, like, tell him it's a good day, tell him good morning, or say to her, I like your hair, whatever. Always just say it. Whatever your brain wants you to say to people, just fucking say it. And hopefully by the time you've literally walked into the gym, maybe you've already spoke to like 3 people, 4 people, 5 people. To some people who didn't seem so interested, you just said hello, good morning, whatever. To some other people, you stopped and had a good chat and you're hyping them up and you're like, oh, nice. Like, what are you training today? Legs. Oh, cool, man. Are you going to do squats? Nice, man. How much can you squat? 100. Oh, fuck yeah. Nice, man. I'm trying to get to that as well. Like, you're having this kind of conversation. Then, bro, if you've already spoke to like 6 people today, and then you walk into the gym and the girl's there. It's normal for you. Like it feels so easy for you to speak to her because you're already in the flow that it doesn't feel like this dry, cold approach where you're silent and it feels like wrong or, like kind of difficult for you to go up and speak to her. It feels like you're allowed to just speak to everyone because we're all fucking human beings and we're allowed to. Like we're all part of the same community. You start feeling like you're part of this little community, that there's nothing wrong with you waving over at a person you don't even know and just start speaking to her. I want you to have kind of like old man energy. You know, the type of old guy who just walks around, he just speaks to everyone. Just whatever his fucking brain says to him, you walk past him and he's like, oh, hello, good morning. I used to have a jacket like that back in World War fucking II. You're like, that's cool as fuck. That's like, you need old man energy. You just say what is on your brain to everyone. So warm approaching and cold approaching is kind of like level 1. Level 10 is just, bro, talk to everyone. That's it. And and the target, the first target, should be, in my opinion, someone who's kind of easier to talk to, like the sort of gym attendants, people who are basically paid to talk to you, like the waitress or whatever. The first sort of 1 or 2 people that I'll speak to are people who work at the kind of establishment I'm in. I'm almost like warming up with them and, just kind of getting out of my sort of like autist, social brain, intellectual brain thinking mode. Have a tiny bit of a conversation with them. And then when I walk into the gym, I've already kind of like greased, like, lubed myself up in a way that it's just easier. I'm more in a flow and I can just speak to everyone. I can smile at people and it doesn't feel awkward for me to walk across the gym and smile at someone, give them a fist bump. If I don't even know them and say, what's up? What are you training today, bro? It's not actually like kind of weird to do that. Maybe in some areas, but like, fuck it. It's your benefit to speak to as many people as possible. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know which girl is going to be into you. So the last thing I'm just going to say is, that first story I told you about with that Chinese girl, there's such a big point here. You never know which girl is going to be into you. There's a girl who's literally all over you. Any guy who's been to a lot of clubs and parties will know this. Sometimes there's a girl who's all into you and she's all over you. Maybe she's even kissed you and then she goes home with someone else. That shit happens. Or you could have seemingly the highest attraction and she still doesn't even want to go home with you that night. But other times there could be a girl who's not even looked at your ass even once, but when you pick up the balls to go and speak to her, she instantly, or maybe after a little while, is attracted to you and you're like, holy shit, like I would have had no idea that she was actually into me if I didn't approach her. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've done a full cold approach where she's not even looked at me. And it's like, I'm kind of building myself up to think like, yeah, but, she's not even looked. It'd be so easy if she just smiled at me. I'm trying to smile at her, but she's not even looking. I'm like, yeah, fuck it. So I walk up, kind of just like, this is what I do if a girl's got her earphones in. I kind of like wave my hand like this, smile. I take my earphone off at the same time. So I kind of imagine you're the girl. I'll walk up to you and go like this. And then I take my earphone off, which kind of insinuates like, oh, we're about to talk. Instead of me coming up without the earphones. I don't know why, just having the earphones on, waving, getting their attention facially, like visually, and then me taking the earphone, kind of 99% of women will do that as well. And then I say something like, oh, sorry to disturb your workout. You're really pretty. What's your name? Done. That's the secret tip. And by the way, a lot more dating and sex advice and all that kind of stuff inside of this community. Top link in the description. You get like tons of the detailed guides that I've made. So I probably shouldn't even have released those guides because I've just saturated all my the most effective things that I do. But yeah, top link in the description if you want to join. Goodbye.